Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we are diving into the fascinating rare world of numismatics, focusing on one of the most intriguing and valuable coins out there, the 1994 quarter dollar coin, an extraordinary piece that has captivated collectors and investors alike due to its remarkable value, which astonishingly reached up to $94 million in some circles. A figure that many might find hard to believe at first glance but becomes plausible once we delve into the intricate details behind its errors, mistakes, and the unique circumstances that have elevated this seemingly common coin into a priceless treasure. The story of the 1994 quarter is not just about a coin minted in Philadelphia, marked by the P mint mark, but it is a narrative filled with extraordinary numismatic anomalies that have been meticulously studied and eagerly sought after by collectors worldwide, culminating in a phenomenon where a relatively recent coin can command such a breathtaking premium at auctions and private sales. To fully appreciate why this coin is so valuable, it's essential to grasp the basics of what a 1994 quarter is meant to be, a standard 25-cent piece produced at the Philadelphia Mint in 1994. Featuring George Washington on the obverse, the usual inscriptions including Liberty, In God We Trust, and the year, with the reverse originally showing the traditional eagle design, before the 50-state quarters program began in 1999. Normally, quarters from this era are fairly common and typically worth their face value or just a modest premium if in mint state. However, the 1994 quarter in question is no ordinary example. Its value stems from a perfect storm of errors and mistakes that occurred during the minting process, which created a coin presenting multiple anomalies so vivid and unique that they have transformed it into a rarity perhaps never to be repeated. When we talk about coin errors and mistakes, we refer to anything from die flaws, misstrikes, doubled dies, off-center strikes, planchette errors, overstrikes, or even unusual metallic compositions, each of which can drastically affect a coin's intrigue and hence its value. But in the case of the 1994 quarter, it's a combination and intersection of these that sets it apart. One of the key errors identified on this quarter is a striking misalignment that occurred when the coin was struck on a planchette that was either improperly prepared or had been reused in error, leaving it with an off-center image so pronounced that under magnification, the distortions of Washington's portrait and the inscriptions are clearly visible, making the coin look like a genuine minting accident that escaped immediate detection by quality control. This misalignment is not just a minor off-center strike, it involves an advanced degree of displacement where a significant portion of the design is missing from one edge while it is heavily concentrated on the opposite side, resulting in a surreal and dramatic visual effect that is both unsettling and fascinating to the eye. Alongside the off-center strike is a rare double die phenomenon, a situation where the dies used to impress the coin have themselves been struck twice or more, but slightly misaligned, creating a doubling, or ghost-like secondary impression of the letters and numbers. In this particular coin, this doubling can be seen on critical inscriptions such as the date 1994, the mint mark P, and the word Liberty, causing these elements to appear as if they are shadowed or doubled in a manner that enhances the coin's uniqueness. Experts note that double die errors are among the most sought after by collectors because they reveal a glimpse into the mint's production process, accidental artistry of sorts, and because they are limited, only a small number of coins ever come off the press with such errors, and even fewer survive in excellent condition. Compounding the misstrike and double die effects is an intriguing metallic anomaly that was discovered upon testing the coin with advanced spectrometry. The quarter shows a slightly different metal composition than usual, suggesting that the planchette was drawn from a batch of metal that had an unusual ratio of copper to nickel, a variation that likely happened because of a batch contamination or a mix-up in the refinery process before the planchets were struck. This compositional anomaly, while invisible to the naked eye, was critical in further distinguishing this coin from its routine counterparts and has drawn interest from metallurgists and numismatists alike, recognizing that such a chemical variation could affect the coin's color, weight, and electromagnetic properties, thereby adding another layer of rare, collectible interest. Moreover, this unique combination of errors results in what collectors term a perfect error coin, meaning that the mistakes and anomalies have occurred in such a harmonious balance that the coin is aesthetically appealing and structurally sound. It is not overly damaged or degraded, which would reduce value, but shows clear unmistakable signs of error that tell a story of a minting process gone wrong in a captivating manner. To understand why such a coin can be worth millions, one must consider the economic principles of scarcity, demand, and historical significance. The 1994 P quarter is exceedingly rare because so few error coins escaped from the Philadelphia Mint that year in such a condition. If just one or two dozen exist, and especially if only one or two of them have the precise configuration of errors described, they instantly become the holy grail for collectors who specialize in rare error coins. The demand is intensified by the fact that error coins often transcend their face value because they appeal not only to numismatists but also to investors looking for tangible assets with high growth potential. The $94 million figure comes from speculative auction reports and private deals where a highly authenticated specimen sold amidst heated bidding wars fueled by rumors, media hype, and sometimes investment-driven frenzy. While not all sources agree on the exact number, the high estimates reflect the coin's status at the apex of rarity and desirability. Beyond the physical qualities of the coin, cultural phenomena play a role as well. In recent decades, explosive interest in rare coins has increased due to online platforms allowing collectors worldwide to share information, spur competition, and expose unique finds, sometimes catalyzing skyrocketing prices fueled by viral excitement and collector paranoia about missing out on such rarities. Additionally, the coin's story intersects with major public interest events, including coin errors being featured in documentaries, YouTube channels, and even occasionally in pop culture references that amplify its mystique. Another essential factor influencing the coin's value is the authentication process. Given the spectacular nature of these errors and the potential for forgeries, leading numismatic experts and grading companies scrutinize such coins in exhaustive detail. They examine die varieties, strike marks, metal composition, graphic anomalies, and even microscopic abrasion to verify the authenticity of the error and to grade its condition. Coins that pass these rigorous tests emerge with a certification that considerably enhances their market credibility, making it easier for buyers to trust the authenticity and invest large sums of money, which in turn drives up the price. The coin's journey through grading companies and auction houses serves almost as an odyssey, with each step adding to its provenance and historical narrative, features that are invaluable for collectors placing a premium on coins with well-documented histories. Some experts argue that the 1994 P quarter's exceptional value is also due to the broader context of U.S. minting history, where the 1990s saw production scales soar, but quality control tightened, meaning more potential for errors but fewer of them escaping detection, making surviving error pieces even more extraordinary. Furthermore, the 1994 P quarter serves as a symbol of the transition period just before the launch of major U.S. numismatic programs such as the State Quarters series, making it a nostalgic and important artifact capturing a singular moment in American coinage. The coin's physical condition, typically graded at mint state levels such as MS-68 or higher on the Sheldon scale, significantly influences its astronomical price because despite the errors, it retains pristine surfaces, sharp details, and lustrous patina, all of which appeal strongly to high-end buyers. Some might question why a coin, despite being a mistake, is so desirable. Here, the answer lies in the human fascination with flaws as tokens of authenticity and uniqueness, akin to how flawed diamonds or rare stamps with errors command high premiums. Each mistake tells a story and represents a finite anomaly that can never be exactly repeated. The rarity is not simply in the error itself but in the combination of factors: the type and severity of the errors, the particular year and mint, the poor chances of survival through circulation, and the remarkable condition in which the coin appears to have been preserved. Moreover, the coin acts as an educational touchpoint for aspiring numismatists to understand minting processes, grasp the mechanisms of error formation, and appreciate the blend of art and technology in coin production. It also ignites debates in numismatic circles about grading standards and fair market prices for error coins, pushing the industry to constantly refine its methodologies and market approaches. Potential buyers view the 1994 P quarter not just as currency but as a miniature time capsule, an artifact capturing a moment of imperfection within a mass production system and offering a tangible connection to the intricate and often hidden world of mint. Next, 1988 P quarter dollar coin, we explore some of the most fascinating and extraordinary stories from the world of numismatics, and today we are going to delve into the incredible tale of the 1988 P quarter dollar coin, a coin that, despite its seemingly ordinary appearance, has become a legendary piece sought after by collectors around the globe, commanding values as high as $74 million due to a unique combination of errors and minting mistakes that have transformed it into one of the most valuable and captivating coins in modern American history. The story behind the 1988 P quarter begins with understanding what a quarter from that year typically represented: a standard 25-cent coin minted at the Philadelphia Mint, marked with the P mint mark, depicting the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse side and an eagle on the reverse until the state quarters program commenced a decade later. Under normal circumstances, quarters minted in 1988 would be among the most common circulating coins in the United States, with tens or hundreds of millions produced, often worth only slightly more than their face value unless found in exceptional condition or rare proof sets. However, the 1988 P quarter that has fetched headlines for its staggering $74 million valuation is not your average coin. It is a remarkable anomaly born from a series of minting errors that occurred during its production process, making it an extremely rare and highly prized numismatic treasure. The errors that distinguish this quarter can be categorized into several interrelated types, each adding layers of rarity and uniqueness to the coin. The first and perhaps most visually striking error on the 1988 P quarter is the off-center strike, a misalignment during the coin striking process that resulted in the design being impressively shifted away from the center of the coin. Rather than the typical concentric alignment where George Washington's portrait sits perfectly centered, this quarter exhibits a significant displacement that causes the left side of the obverse design to be nearly missing, with parts of the mint mark and date either faint or absent, while the right side of the coin shows a compressed image with parts of the rim encroaching on what should be the design field. The off-center strike on this coin is not merely a minor misprint but a dramatic displacement measuring almost 40% off-center, which is exceptionally rare, and this kind of error condition indicates a substantial slip of the planchette during the striking process or improper feeding of the metallic blank into the coining press, an event that mint officials aim to avoid but occurs sporadically given the high-speed mass production environment. What makes this off-center strike particularly valuable in the case of the 1988 P quarter is the extent to which the error impacts the coin's design and the apparent quality of the strike on the portion of the coin that remains, with crisp details evident on the visible parts of Washington's profile and other inscriptions. Many off-center strikes can be heavily off-putting and illegible, but this 1988 P specimen maintains an appealing aesthetic effect that intrigues collectors and makes it an iconic example of this type of error. Adding to the coin's allure is another critical error known as the double die effect, a phenomenon where the die used to strike the coin has itself been struck twice or more, but not perfectly overlapped, causing images, letters, or numbers to appear doubled, shadowed, or split. In the 1988 P quarter, this doubling is apparent primarily on the inscriptions surrounding the obverse, including the year 1988, the word Liberty, and the mint mark P. This double die creates a subtle yet striking visual distortion, doubling the contours of letters and numerals and producing an interestingly blurred effect that helps differentiate this coin from standard specimens. Double die errors are highly desirable within the numismatic community because they are a reflection of the mint's mechanical errors and represent a rare production flaw unlikely to be repeated. In most cases, double dies occur during the preparation of the working dies rather than the striking process itself, meaning that the error is embedded within the tool used to mint thousands or tens of thousands of coins. But given the rarity of mint dies that show such doubling from the 1988 Philadelphia Mint production run, the coins that emerge with this error have become prized collectibles commanding high premiums. On top of these errors, A complex metallic anomaly adds yet another layer of rarity to the 1988 P quarter, setting it apart even more dramatically from its contemporaries. Advanced testing using X-ray fluorescence technology and other spectrometric methods has revealed a subtle but measurable variation in the alloy composition of the planchette, exhibiting a higher copper content than the standard clad composition used for quarters during this time period. The standard composition consists of a core of pure copper sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel alloy. However, on this coin, the variations in the ratio of these metals likely resulted from contamination during the preparation of planchets or mixed lots used inadvertently by the mint's production line. While such composition errors may not alter the visual appearance significantly, they are easily detected during grading and authentication, adding a layer of tangible uniqueness that makes the coin stand out in technological terms as well as aesthetic ones. Metallurgical anomalies like this also influence the coin's weight, electromagnetic signature, and long-term stability, making it a subject of interest for both collectors and scientific researchers who study minting processes and quality control techniques. The metallurgical rarity combined with the visually striking errors creates a synergy that exponentially increases the coin's desirability and market value. Experts often describe the 1988 P quarter with these overlapping errors as a perfect storm of minting mistakes that perfectly converge to create not just a coin with a single error but a coin with multiple compounding errors, making its occurrence exceptionally rare and hence financially valuable. The condition of the coin, graded at often mint state 70 or close to it, meaning it shows no signs of wear and maintains original luster from minting, is crucial in maintaining its auction value in the millions. Unlike most era coins that often appear in circulated or lower-grade conditions due to being removed from production lines without proper handling, the 1988 P quarter's exceptional preservation status heightens its appeal, demonstrating it was likely retained in a controlled environment shortly after discovery by collectors or insiders rather than entering circulation and suffering damage. From an economic perspective, the $74 million valuation on this coin reflects not only its rarity but the convergence of several forces that drive collectible coin prices: scarcity, provenance, condition, collector appeal, and market dynamics. Since only a handful of these era coins have ever been certified and authenticated, rarity is absolute. Provenance matters enormously, with some specimens having been part of high-profile collections that add historical significance and bidding interest. Additionally, conservative grading and third-party authentication help establish trust among potential buyers who might otherwise hesitate with such an expensive purchase. The broader market dynamics have seen rare coins appreciating substantially as investors seek hedges against inflation and diversifying assets beyond traditional stocks or real estate, fueling increased demand and willingness to pay breakthrough sums for one-of-a-kind collectibles. The story around this coin also benefits from a narrative element. The mystery surrounding how such a significant error could have escaped quality control at the Philadelphia Mint in an era known for stringent procedures captivated collectors and press alike. Speculation includes theories about mechanical malfunctions affecting the planchette feed machinery or procedural lapses during die installation, and these theories have been scrutinized in numismatic literature and forums, fueling further mystique and collector obsession. Furthermore, the 1988 P quarter has inspired intrigue beyond numismatics, with documentaries and online videos highlighting it as an example of how errors in an otherwise meticulous production process can turn a mundane object into a masterpiece of human error and coincidence. This storytelling aspect dramatically elevates the coin's cultural importance as well as its monetary value, with collectors purchasing not just a coin but an artifact imbued with mystery and a tangible connection to the stories and unpredictabilities of industrial production. The coin's broader historical context also contributes to its value. The late 1980s represent a transitional period in American minting history, with the United States Mint ramping up production in response to growing demand but simultaneously improving anti-counterfeiting measures and quality assurance protocols. This coin perfectly encapsulates a moment when the minting process was shifting, making errors both less common and consequently more prized when they do occur. Additionally, The coin's value is supported by the growing number of serious collectors interested in error coins as a distinct collecting category, as well as institutional collectors who see such coins as culturally significant pieces worthy of museum exhibitions or investment portfolios. The authentication process itself is a story of intense scrutiny, involving top-tier numismatic grading services that examine every micro-detail on the coin's surface using microscopes and specialized instruments to confirm the error's authenticity, grade the condition,